Hey guys, Mr. Pokey here, back with another video, and today we are gonna be reacting to Prydwen's 2.0 tier list, this time featured by an excellent content creator whom we all know by now, I'm pretty sure, right? Gachasmack. Alright, if you guys haven't followed his channel, haven't subscribed to his channel, he streams on Twitch, does content on YouTube, amazing fella, give him a check out. But today we will be reacting to his reaction to Prydwen's tier list. Alright, so basically we're reacting to a reaction. Fantastic, right? Absolutely fantastic, right? So currently we are doing the account reviews every Sunday. If you guys want to find out how you can do account reviews, head on over to Pokey's Village, right? Where we have a very active community talking about Honkai story on a daily basis, right? And after this reaction, we're gonna start our account review. So I will see you guys there as of the time of this recording, right? Okay, so now without further ado, let's get into today's content. But before we begin today's content, do you guys know that I am so hyped up today? All right, the fact that we actually start stream early because of gamer subs, guys. Gamer subs, right? Using code Pokey with 10% off, gonna get absolutely insane energy for your daily gamer needs, right? So that's gonna be code Pokey using gamer subs, right? All right, that's it. All right, now we're gonna begin with today's content. Right, let's go. Subscribe. Okay, but at a glance, I feel like it's not bad. I feel like the only thing wrong with this tier list is that how the is Qingque the same tier as like Seele, Imbibitor, and Dr. Rachel. Like what the dude, I swear someone in Prydwen has like a serious Qingque boner. I swear. There's just no, you know what?
The sustainers. Xuan, absolutely. She's still the most broken sustainer.
Absolutely.
In my personal opinion. What I will say is I can see that the way they're doing their tier list is there can only be one unit on the top, on the S+ tier.
Personally, I would give it to HuoHuo. Personally, but you know, Xuan is like the, you know when you get a bike, right, chat? I feel like this is the best analogy for this. You know when you get a bike, Xuan is like the baby goo gaga bike with two training wheels, and then you can go along and skitter off to the roads. All right, HuoHuo is like the mountain bike. RX70X Pro plus Extreme Ultimate Deluxe Mountain Biker, which like it is like a $20 billion. That's basically the difference. Yeah, sure, they can both get you to your destination, which is in this case sustaining your team, but HuoHuo gives you a lot more. So personally, as somebody that don't need no goo gaga bikes, I value HuoHuo a little bit more. But once again, it is completely subjective playing experience. All right, cool.
You can't have two units up there. I believe that's how they're doing it. But the only problem I have with that is that Black Swan isn't the best sustainer in the game for every single composition. She's a...
Did you just say Black Swan isn't the best sustainer in the game? Okay, then.
She's a sustainer who synergizes very well with crit characters. Whereas...
Okay, he meant to say Xuan. Gotcha. All right, minor mistake, right? Gotcha.
If you run her on a dot composition, she's inferior to Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo's attack percent team-wide bonus plus her energy recharge team-wide boost is just too damn good for dot compositions.
For every composition, actually.
I would put Scooby-Doo next to Black Swan. I mean, not Black Swan, Xuan. If I had my own tier list, I'd put them two up there, and then I'd leave Lorcha in the S tier. That's the only thing I disagree with. But again, I think it's because they can only choose one, and if you had to choose one or the other to be the representative of, you know, the queen bitch in that category, I guess it would be Xuan. So Lorcha is a fantastic sustainer. He's the most comfortable sustainer in the game, but I just don't think he'll ever be an S+ tier sustainer. He's just not meant to be an S+ tier sustainer. He's just meant to be the sustainer who you can always rely on to sustain. He doesn't have anything in his kit like Black Swan that gives a 10% crit rate boost to your...
Bro, why does he keep confusing Black Swan with Xuan? What is wrong with... What the... Yo, the gyat. Alright, yo, Gachasmack got hit with the gyat, guys.
Your whole team, and then if you get her E1 30% crit damage boost to the whole team. He doesn't have nothing like that. He doesn't have a 40% attack boost. His E1's like 20%, so that's mid. And he damn sure can't give energy recharge to the whole team. So he's not providing the value that they provide. He's providing a comfort level of sustain. So for the most part, I completely agree with this. This is nice. Moving on to Amplifier. And down here, yeah, you know, before we move on to Amplifier, Lynx, Gepard, and Bailu. Yo, bro. 5-star and a B tier get losing the Lynx. The only reason she's not.
Personally, I think I don't think that's the case. I think people severely underestimate what Bailu can bring to the team. Severely, especially if you're like a new player. Like the revive and the invigoration, it's so comfortable. Genuinely. The only thing that she misses out on is the cleanse. And that's pretty much it. But it's just my opinion.
Not better than Bailu if the enemy is not hitting you with any like crowd control. But if you go up against an enemy with crowd control, yeah, Lynx is better. Like, I'm sorry, like Lynx can literally debuff one debuff on a whole team with an ult. Bailu can't debuff. So that's why Bailu's in B tier. I completely agree with this. I completely agree with this. Now, if you get some good effect resistance on Gepard, there's some situations where he outperforms even some people up here. But they're very, very niche situations. So yeah, I pretty much agree with all of the sustain category. And then they got, oh man, Natasha in C tier. that I agree with that, but March 7th I think should be up here. If you have a E6 March 7th, she can perma freeze the hell out of the other enemy. I need to build her up to showcase her. Her perma freeze is actually nuts because it's team wide perma freeze, which it contributes to sustain. But they're probably grading her based off of her individual shield application. So to which that I can agree with it, but I think March 7th is a B tier sustainer, potentially an A tier if you know how to perma freeze with her.
Okay, I want to cook on this a little bit because it's just my opinion, right? There's a few things that I have I wouldn't say disagree, right? I just have a different experience playing. First things first, Lynx. I think yes, Lynx herself, the cleanse is really nice, right? Team wide AoE cleanse. For this particular MOC, the cleanse itself holds a little bit more value. First half, you have Airborne Deer. Not a lot of like disgusting crowd controls, right? Second half, yes. Second half, if you want to get a cleanse because Kafka has the mind control, and then the Automatron, the female Automatron, she has the stun thingy. So having Lynx there would be really, really good for side 2. But for side 1, I don't think cleanse is really like that important. So that's that. For Bailu and Gepard, I feel that there's no world in which Bailu is so undervalued, because I just think that in general, cleanse itself as a mechanic, it kind of has like way too much of an emphasis. Like, oh my god, just because you have cleanse, you are like the GOAT, and if you don't have cleanse, then you're the dog shit. I really don't think that's the case for a lot of situations, because think about it this way, right? Let's just say you actually got crowd controlled. Let's just say you actually got crowd controlled by Kafka's mind control, right? It is not a game-ending thing that will cost you your entire run. And if it was, like for example, if you got crowd control by Kafka and it literally cost you your entire run, then having a cleanse or not having a cleanse is not the core problem, right? It's probably more so like your DPS itself is just not that great, right? Maybe your sustain is not that great, your support is not that great, because it's just like an annoyance, right? It's annoying, but what's more annoying is if your team is dead. Personally, I would really want to see Bailu being placed up in A tier. I really don't think Lynx is all that. But alright, if Lynx is not dropping down one tier, at least share the same tier as Lynx, in my opinion. Gepard, I think is still really, really good. The deal with Gepard is it gets a little bit annoying if number 1, he gets crowd controlled, then he can't cast his shield. And number 2, if you have a very shitty Gepard build, it will impact your experience more so than other healers, right? Because the Gepard, not only does he need like energy regeneration rope, he needs a defense sphere, he needs a defense chest, he needs speed boots, he also needs some really, really good subs, right? He needs speed subs, effect rare subs, defense subs. So if players don't really have a really, really good Gepard, he can be a little bit more difficult when it comes to like solo sustaining your entire team. Not the case for Bailu and Lynx, and the main reason because of that, the main reason is just because both Lynx and Bailu, they have heals not only from their ultimate but also from their skill. For Gepard, if your team can't last until Gepard gets his shield back up, you're done. There's no heals, there's no nothing, right? So it's just a little bit more annoying to play. So that's my stand on the 3 units in contention over here. For March 7th and Natasha, genuinely, I haven't used Natasha in like 20 million years. For March 7th, I can kind of see why she's in a C tier though, because the deal with March 7th is that Number one, E6 doesn't change anything at all with the freeze. E6 basically makes sure that your shield gets the heal, right? Like if you can heal the shielded ally, that's your E6. So whether you perma freeze the enemy team or not has nothing to do with your E6. But the thing with March 7th is that if you don't spend skill points on March 7th, and if the enemy is resistant to freeze, she's not gonna sustain. And that's the problem, right? That's the problem with Memory of Chaos, because there's a lot of enemies that are resistant to crowd control, especially for the boss units. Maybe not so much for the elites, but for most boss units we see nowadays, they either have crowd control res or like freeze or something like this. So, and March 7th's base freeze chance is already really low. If I'm not wrong, it's like 65% base chance. So unless you build March 7th with like an EHR March 7th, which by itself is a whole bag of worms that I'm not gonna get into. Her sustain capabilities just generally, I don't think that it is as comparable as compared to the 3 units above her.
So let's move on to amplifiers. I see that everyone pulled their head out of their ass and finally agreed with me on Ruan Mei being better than Bronya and being the most broken harmony or slash support slash buffer in the entirety of the game. Remember when I said this shit? Remember when I said it when she first came out, but everybody was just like, no, but Bronya's still better and Ruan Mei's not necessary. Yeah, what happened now? Yep, I guarantee you they got access to data and they started seeing not only all the CN players using Ruan Mei to get the best clears, they probably seen every body in the community using Ruan Mei. So I thought that was worth mentioning because, you know, when I said it, everybody was doubting it, you know, but now, now that it's on Prydwen, it's more verified. So yeah, y'all know I was gonna talk some shit about that. Bronya, get your ass in the back with the S tier units. Yes, sir. This is appropriate. Bronya is not as valuable as Ruan Mei. Bronya is still Bronya. It's not as valuable. Tingyun.
Okay, I will cook a little bit. Okay, first of all, you got me, right? Yep, you got me. I think it is not really about the supports, but it is more about the DPS. I feel that a support's ranking, it ultimately ties to a DPS ranking. So for example, Jing being at S+ tier. In my opinion, Bronya is still the best in slot for Jing. But the thing is, we're starting to see more and more DPS units that do not work well with Bronya, right? They are like, you know, we're colleagues in the workplace, but I just don't really like you, right? And this is very prevalent from units like Dr. Ratio, Imbibitor Lune. Okay, basically just these two. Let's just talk about these 2 units, right? Dr. Ratio, he really just doesn't really like Bronya that much because he doesn't gain the buffs from Bronya after the extra turn, right? All the follow-up attacks from the ultimate, none of that's gonna get buffed from Bronya's extra turn. So that's that. Imbibitor Lune, genuinely, not impossible, but it is more of a pain in the ass to build, right? For the normies, for the min pickers, right, that don't want to worry about skill point economy, it is a lot more difficult to try to pair Bronya with Imbibitor Lune. E0S1, but no, I'm not talking about E2 Imbibitor Lune. So that's that. Another team, right? Kafka, Black Swan, and I guess to a certain extent Topaz, like the rise of duo DPS team comps, especially for Black Swan and Kafka, it indirectly pushed up the ranking of Ruan Mei just because duo DPS is becoming more and more of a thing nowadays. You're not going to run Bronya with Kafka, you're not going to run Bronya with Black Swan, right? Because they are duo DPS and they perform a lot better with Ruan Mei. Same thing for Topaz, because if you want to run Topaz as the hyper carry, genuinely, I'm pretty sure you still run Bronya with Topaz as a hyper carry. But if you want to run Topaz with Dr. Ratio as like the duo DPS setup, you're not going to run Bronya. You're going to start running like your Ruan Mei because of the aura counter. So it's not because this is just my opinion, right? It's not so that Bronya is shit or like Bronya got like power crap, but it's just that the dynamics of the game itself is starting to change, right? It's really starting to pivot more and more towards dual DPS team comps, and indirectly because of this, Ruan Mei just got like boosted up really hard, right? Dr. Ratio, Imbibitor Lune, Kafka, Black Swan, Topaz, right? All these units, I would dare say, it pushes up Ruan Mei a lot. Some other units, I still believe Bronya holds the highest significance. Jing, Seele, Argenti, Blade. Yeah, I feel like these 4 units, they still pair really well with Bronya, just because they're the true blue hyper carries, essentially, right? Yeah, so that's my thought about this, and I think it's pretty fair, right? I think it's a pretty fair assessment, right? Cool. Anyways, let's continue.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. For me, there's just so many teams that use Tingyun. I've been saying this since day one. Tingyun, in my opinion, is better than Bronya. She's more universally usable than Bronya, and there's certain teams where she just outperforms Bronya. But, you know, she's debated up there in the S plus in my personal opinion. Y'all know I'm a Tingyun fanatic, all right? Now, I don't know who the hell at Prydwen is sucking off Silverwolf.
Tingyun. Is Tingyun better than Bronya? Okay, you know what? I'll just be basing this off of my personal playing experience. I'm somebody, when it comes to Memory of Chaos, right, and we are talking about Memory of Chaos over here, I'm somebody that likes to try to do 0 cycles, right? I do it on stream a lot of time with chat. It's pretty fun, all right? From strictly in the perspective of like enabling a team comp to run 0 cycles, I can get behind the argument that Tingyun holds a little bit more value than Bronya for 2 main reasons, right? Number 1, dance. Having the ability to cast dance on the very first turn instantly when you enter into the fight, it will bring up your entire team's action value to the point where you don't even need 1-3-4 speed to go twice on the very first turn. Because dance boosts your action value forward, now your DPS could just run like, I don't know, like 100 speed, 110 speed, and they will still get 2 turns on the very first cycle because of dance. And that by itself is a huge quality of life compared to Bronya. Bronya can't have that, right? That's number 1. Number 2, I would say Tingyun's kit is more front-loaded than Bronya's kit in terms of 0 cycle, because she can cast the ultimate on the very first turn, which means that our DPS is going to get the buff on the very first turn. But for Bronya, you need to wait for her ultimate to come back up, and it is currently impossible to get Bronya's ultimate up on the very first turn unless the enemy is so fast to the point where you get hit. Technically, there's a third reason, which is the same reason as what Gachasmack has mentioned. Universal how universal she is, right? Tingyun's energy regeneration, it is more universal compared to Bronya just because she is less skill point intensive. For Bronya, if you want to fit her with the other team comps, you have to take skill point economy into considerations, especially when it comes to a 0 cycle. And that's not really an issue with Tingyun because she is pretty positive herself. If you try to do like, if you try to just use Bronya's skill every single turn, you're 1000% gonna run out of skill points eventually. But not to say that Bronya is not usable. Bronya is still really good for a lot of different team comps. But I feel like when it comes to like universal access, I feel like Tingyun is just a little bit more, especially if players want to go about this route, right? So for these reasons, I can kind of see circumstances where Tingyun can outvalue Bronya. Now Bronya will start to massively catch up as the battle starts to get longer and longer. Those are, I think, the 2 considerations that players wanna think about. Yeah, that's basically it. Let's continue.
Okay, but there's no way a E0 Silverwolf, E0, is outperforming a E6 Pela. You have lost your goddamn mind. Now, if you want to say she can enable a little more comfort and stuff, sure. But put in Silverwolf in front of Pela is wild. Put in Pela.
1000% agree. And I've been saying this for so long. 1000% agree.
In the A tier. Now that's wild. Pela is absolutely still one of the most used 4-star units in the entirety of the game for not only just clearing content, but competing as well. So yeah.
I feel like nowadays not so much, just because Ruan Mei happened. Nowadays not so much. I feel like I haven't really used Pela as much since Ruan Mei. So I wouldn't ever place Pela in the S tier, if that is what he's going about it. I will, however, drop Silverwolf down a tier in A tier. If there's gonna be a segregation, I feel like it's gonna be A-. I don't think Silverwolf is the same league as Tingyun and Bronya. It's not even close.
Yeah, this was wild to me. I didn't agree with this at all. She's absolutely up there in the S tier, but everybody else I agree with. I even agree with E6 Yukong being B tier, simply not because she's not usable. I think she has A tier performance, but the problem is I never use her. I always use somebody else. And if you're always using somebody else, well, that character can debatably be put into the B tier. The same thing with Asta and Hanya. They're not my go-tos anymore. Even Asta. And Asta's a really damn good support unit. But with the newer Harmony.
Okay, pause. All right, let's cook this a little bit. The reason why Silverwolf, in my opinion, is just really overrated is because players have way too much emphasis on the weakness implant. I feel like nowadays, clearing a stage of element is really not that rare anymore. back then, I feel like the only person that could actually reliably do this was like Tingyun and Imbibitor Lune for the most part. Nowadays, you can see shit like Kafka and Black Swan just going off element just because of like how fucking broken res penetration is, especially with the entrance of Ruan Mei, right? So genuinely not breaking an enemy or being off element, it's really not all that. It really is not all that. Right. Secondly, Silverwolf, the content that we have right now, okay, maybe for this current Memory of Chaos, I can kind of get behind Silverwolf being not bad, right? But still not the same tier as Tingyun and Bronya, in my opinion. I feel like this is absolutely gonna destroy me. In under normal circumstances, I would genuinely place Silverwolf in the B tier. Right, cancel me, right? But for this specific MOC, I can kind of see how Silverwolf can be in the A tier because we don't really have a lot of AoE content. Or at least if you're ever going to use Silverwolf, you will only run Silverwolf in the stage with Airborne Deer. And for Airborne Deer, there's only 2 elites and 1 major boss itself. So there's no like a shit ton of mobs for you to deal with. So for this specific MOC, I can still see Silverwolf being not that bad. I think she's still pretty good. But in the future, when you see, okay, if you try to fight the stage with like Silver Main Lieutenant or like the Ascendant one with like 10 billion mobs and all that kind of stuff, or like you try to fight with like Yanqing, True Swarm, all that kind of stuff, it's just like there's so many things for Silverwolf to try to mark the debuffs. I might as well just use Pela. At this point in the game, when it's close to 10 months. I think at the start of the game, Silverwolf's Witness Implant has a lot of value, especially for new players. Because respectfully, your relics is trash, right? Your relics are trash, your builds are trash, your tracers are trash. So having the on-element benefit is really beneficial for Silverwolf. Nowadays, okay, am I being unrelatable? Am I crazy? I feel like nowadays, most players should have at least 1 well-built DPS, right? At least 1 well-built DPS. I feel minimum. And you can just kind of just run this and just go off element and just go like, just at least beat the crap out of one stage while being off element. And then for the second stage, you can try to like pull up an on-element team, right? So that's my opinion. And the only role that Silverwolf is now delegated to, or at least in my opinion, is going to be Mono Quantum. It's going to be Silverwolf, Sparkle, Xuan, and then either Scylla or Qingque. I feel like that is going to be her niche eventually. She's not going to get completely phased out, but that is going to be a niche. And if this unit only has 1 niche in the future, and we're literally talking about in the future, by the way, guys. This is the future when Sparkle comes out. I just can never justify Silverwolf being placed in the S tier. Alright, so that's gonna be my thoughts on Silverwolf. I'm gonna get cancelled on the YouTube comments, so if you guys want to support the stream, right, if you guys want to prevent Miserable Give from getting cancelled, right, follow this stream right now, subscribe to the YouTube channel right now, alright, or you just can give a little sub, right, I appreciate the fuck out of that, right, okay, anyways, continuing, I think Hanya is less universal compared to Asta. Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but I genuinely find very little situation where I would choose to run Hanya in any team comp. Like, I really can't think of a team comp where I would specifically, you know what, I'm gonna run Hanya over... You know what I'm saying? I just feel like she doesn't fit with anyone in particular. Not to mention, we are literally gonna get Sparkle, which we know by now she's gonna give us like a shit ton of skill points. So like, I will personally drop Hanya down to B tier, and I will actually personally bring Yukong up to A tier. I have used E6 Yukongs in a couple of my runs, at least more so than Hanya. I think she pairs really well with Imbibitor Lune. She pairs really well with Doctor Ratio. Ironic that they're both imaginary units because her buff, it extends beyond a single instance of damage. You get what I'm saying? Because as long as the buff from Yukong exists, all those units will gain all the buffs, right? So for example, for Doctor Ratio, right? As long as Yukong still has the buff, all his follow-up attacks from his ultimate, from his skill, from his talent, every single attack will benefit from Yukong's ultimate buff. So by that logic, I feel like Yukong has a niche that not a lot of supports here can replace, which is like insane crit value. Granted, it is definitely more of a pain in the ass to build. Even for E6, it's kind of a pain in the ass to build, right? So I'm not gonna deny she's not gonna be in the S tier, but I can see more usage for Yukong than Hanya. At least that's just my personal playing experience. Asta, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Ever since Ruan Mei came out, I have not touched Asta. Last time we will use Asta for DOT, right? Or last time we used Asta for like, I don't know, like dual DPS. But like, ever since Ruan Mei came out, it's just like, I'm sorry, man. Like, it is what it is, you know. Personally, I would rank Pela as where she is, which is A tier. I think Pela is still a pretty strong A tier. Okay, I feel like I might not rank Yukong the same as Pela just because she's more niche in her field. Probably still B tier for Yukong. I can kind of get behind it. Pela can be A tier. Hanya needs to go the back down, man. I really cannot find a use to use Hanya, especially with Sparkle coming out. If there is ever gonna be one C tier in the support, I'll genuinely put Hanya. I know she has like massive badonkas, right? I know, right? I stare at it every single day. Not because I'm a degenerate, but I use her for overall farming, right? But genuinely, I will personally just drop Hanya to C tier. I don't give a f, right? I will personally just drop Asta down to either high B or low A. I think Asta doesn't share the same niche as Pela, and there's one niche which is Pela's defense down reduction is stacks on very, very well. Whereas for Asta, her use is just completely getting overshadowed by Ruan Mei personally, right? By Ruan Mei specifically. So, because of that, I feel like Pela is like, she's in a tier of her own. She's not as great as the greats. She's not as great as Bronya and Tingyun, but she's also not as like bad as like Yukong, Asta, or even Hanya, right? So, personally, I will actually just place Pela in a tier of her own, A tier. I will drop Asta to B tier, and I will drop Hanya all the way down to C tier. Personally, maybe it's just a little bit harsh. It's a little bit harsh, but I feel like it kind of serves a little bit more of informative information, right? Because at the end of the day, how many supports do you really need to raise as a normal player? You probably only raise 4 supports, assuming that you're running 1 DPS, 2 supports, 1 sustain, right? So I will want the players looking at the tier list to see which are the priority targets to raise, and get those priority targets sorted out first. So the big 3 is still going to be Ruan Mei, Bronya, Tingyun. I feel like this big 3, you'll never not raise them. You'll always raise them. So that's that. And then for the A tier, I feel that amongst all the remaining units, Silverwolf, Pela, Hanya, Asta, Yukong, I would personally recommend players to go ahead and bring up their Pela first before anything else. And not to mention, Pela is just really, really easy to raise. So that is basically my take on the Amplifier tier list.
There's many units coming out. Tingyun, Pela, Bronya, and now Ruan Mei, and now Sparkle coming around the corner. And then, yeah, you have Silverwolf too. These units are just like, they're taking the back seat. So I completely agree with Prydwen for the most part. Apart from this, y'all I don't know who the hell smoke. Y'all smoke. I need to get what y'all are smoking. Y'all smoking that good shit, bro. It ain't even 420 yet. Y'all smoking already. That's crazy. So that's my take on amplifiers. Now, specialists. According to them, this category is going to be somebody who completely like pops off, like their value goes through the roof in particular scenarios. Also, synergist is going to be this little symbol right here. By the way, kudos to Prydwen. I love you guys' organization. I love that y'all like go out of your way to provide little details like this.
No, absolutely. I feel like Prydwen, okay, say what you will about Prydwen. I feel like Prydwen is still the best website for like Honkai Stario, like a wiki. The best, like hands down. I genuinely don't think any other website comes close to Prydwen. Shout out to Antiller. Absolutely bang of a website. It is just absolutely insane, right? So yeah.
So that people can understand the nuances of the rankings. This is really cool. So bravo to you guys. But they have this little symbol right here, and that's a synergist symbol. And basically what this symbol is saying is if they have another unit with them, their value goes through the roof. So I agree with Topaz being S tier. Yeah, I agree with Topaz being S tier. I do. The fact that she can be used with so many units is really incredible to me, but that doesn't necessarily mean she deserves to be an S plus tier. Now, Black Swan being an S and Kafka being an S plus is wild. Because I get it. She's only an S plus because of Black Swan, but she literally would not be S plus without Black Swan. Like these two are peanut butter and jelly.
Nah. I wouldn't place Black Swan above Kafka because, okay, I've said this a lot of times, right? Kafka is the foundation to the house you're building. Black Swan is the furniture that you bring in after you build your house, right? 10 years later, when we come back to this tier list again, assuming this game actually lasts 10 years, if we're going to be talking about DOT, Black Swan might not even be here anymore. But Kafka, she's going to be staying for like, as long as DOT is going to be there, Kafka is going to be. And you know what's crazy? If they try to power creep Kafka, if MiHoYo ever release another DOT unit that can also trigger DOTs, you know what's crazy? Kafka is not even going to get power creep because you can run both of them on the same team. This DOT trigger mechanic is just so god. It's a timeless mechanic. It's as timeless as like Seele's resurgence, right? It is an absolute timeless mechanic, and I think Kafka queen, right? Not because I sim for her, but like genuinely, I feel like nah, she deserves to be S plus.
And you cannot put a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the S plus tier if it doesn't have the jelly.
I would rather eat like a bread with another topping, right? Like, okay, I have no peanut butter, right? I have no peanut butter with Black Swan. I can put on like chocolate, right? I can put on like ham and cheese. I can put on kaya. Shout out to Singapore. I can put on all kinds of shit as long as I have the bread. What am I gonna do without bread?
or the peanut butter. You know what I mean? Vice versa. So I think in this scenario, they both should be up there. Because they make each other so damn good. These two are actually combined their meta against the scenarios where the enemy is weak against wind and lightning.
Absolutely, but assuming that we can only have one S+, I will only put Kafka there. Yes, they're both the current strongest DOT variation, but if there's only one S+, I'll put Kafka alone.
Their performance is cracked because I zero cycled with Black Swan and Kafka on floor 11, which is just as difficult as floor 12, and I didn't have either one of their signature light cones. Neither one of their signature light cones. In fact, I had the free-to-play Herder store on Kafka, and then I had Sampo's light cone on Black Swan. So I think these two,
he did negative cycle.
Even though I know your concept is only one goes up to the S+, this should be the exception because they quite literally cannot pop off as well without each other.
Nah,
if that
no
makes
exception.
sense. Now down here, man, y'all know I'm a Luka fanatic. Y'all really do.
Okay, wait. Before you talk about Luka, I want to talk a little bit about Topaz. I'm starting to see what a specialist is for. I'm starting to see how it's basically like your non-traditional teams. Traditional being hyper carries. So I'm starting to kind of see how it goes. So basically, Kafka being S+ and specialist because DOT itself is an incredibly insane comp, and she is the foundation of DOT. Topaz, she's like the foundation for follow-up attack comps. So I'm kind of starting to see the link over here. The thing with Topaz though, you can run a follow-up comp without Topaz and still have pretty decent results. For example, you want to run Daughter Ratio without Topaz, Ruan Mei, Tingyun, Bronya. Boom, you can run that shit. You want to run Clara without Topaz. Okay, maybe it's a little bit cope, but you can run Ruan Mei, Tingyun, Bronya. I feel like, okay, Jingyun, right? Jingyun. Oh my god, I completely forgot about Jingyun. You want to run Jingyun without Topaz. Ruan Mei, Bronya, Tingyun, right? Just pick two of the three, right? So you can quite literally function still really well without Topaz. That's the thing with follow-up comps. It's like, for Kafka, if you do not run Kafka with a DOT comp, their okay, let's just say, for example, right? If you run a DOT comp without Kafka, your performance probably goes down by like 20% or even 40%. You probably clear like double the clear speed, right? If, for example, if you are using Kafka now, you're clearing like 2 cycles. Without Kafka, you're probably going to be clearing 4. But for Topaz, for follow-up attack comps, if you don't run Topaz, maybe you clear like only 1 cycle slower, if at all, even. So because of this, I can kind of see why Topaz wouldn't be. For this specific MOC, I think she can still be in S tier, alright? Just because first half, Fire Week, we had the Hunt buff, right? Single target, all that kind of stuff. I think she can still be in S tier. I think that's pretty fair. I think for the future patches though, I don't think she's worthy to be S tier. Unless they come up with something new that really like force you to kind of like run Topaz with someone with an incredible benefit. If not, I would drop Topaz to A in the future MOC. For now, I think S is still kind of fair. Black Swan, I think, yep, just because she can't be, we can't have 2 S parts, right? Okay, now we can put the rest.
The thing is, if Luka isn't going up against a physical scenario, he's just dog shit. Whereas other units are still usable if you're not using them against the physical, like heavy physical scenarios. Luka is absolute dog shit. So
if we want to talk about this specific memory of chaos, Luka is exceptionally well in MOC 12 floor 1. Exceptionally well. It literally plays to Luka's strengths. You only have 2 elites, no mobs, and then for Ebon Deer, same thing, right? You can just completely ignore the branches and just go all in on Ebon Deer. So if there ever was a situation where Luka would be in S, it's gonna be in this situation. This is probably one of the only patch that Luka can be in S tier. He's either an S or like a B.
I think that's the only reason why he does.
Oh, by the way, you can also run Luka with Black Swan, by the way. If you guys actually want to try it, because Black Swan, under her ultimate Epiphany, Arcana counts as bleed, and Luka can trigger bleed on his E6, so actually it's pretty good.
It's deserved for him to be in an A tier, but in the event that he's going up against heavy bleed weaknesses, oh bro, he is S tier, no question. Sampo got a massive buff with Black Swan because both of their wind shears trigger his E4, and then when you break their shields with him, it's like 3 different wind shears proccing. and bro can just hit for like 100 and 150k. Y'all saw my showcase. Bro is dirty with Black Swan. In fact, you could debatably put Sampo in the S tier with the synergy thing. You could, because with next to Black Swan, bro is just popping off. Now, E6 Xueyi.
Nah, but okay.
Why is she in the specialist cat? Oh, because she can break shields. I still don't.
I have no comments about Xueyi because I don't go. Right.
I agree with that.
I have no comments about Xueyi.
She should be in the DPS category, 100%. She should be over here. Now, some of y'all might be thinking Xueyi is on the same level as Xueyi. The thing is, man, Xueyi is just a broken 4-star unit. Xueyi's
absolutely not, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Not broken, and that's the difference. I think Xueyi can actually probably dish off similar damage output as Xueyi. She probably can. But she's not broken. You really have to work hard with her to get that damage popping off.
As if we don't need to work hard with Qingque. I can literally get a stroke playing Qingque because of how hard I need to work trying to get the 4 of a kind with the enhanced attack and the outer key. 24% fixed chance, by the way, if you have an E4. 24%. That's half the chance of Yanqing, ladies and gentlemen. No.
Now, you can say that you have to do the gamble with Xueyi, but even if you don't gamble, Xueyi will still obliterate. She still will completely obliterate. And
I would love to see Qingque try to obliterate with her single, like, one towel. I would love it. Or when she gets her 4 of a kind, and she has no autarky. Or when she gets a 4 of a kind with like 0 skill per use. Or when autarky just doesn't trigger. Or when she just doesn't crit. Genuinely, like, I swear to God, Qingque is so overrated. It is insane. It is actually insane. I feel like if there's one thing I disagree with the most in this entire tier list, is Qingque being the same goddamn tier as Dr. Ratio, Imbibitor Lune, and Seele, right? Cancel me. I don't give a
Sparkle right around the corner, she's gonna get even stronger. I don't know who the hell has a thing for this character at HuoHuo, but this is an abomination. This character should not be this strong at 4 stars, and she is. But Xueyi is like right under her, I think, in power level, just a smidge, but then way harder to pull off those numbers. So I think she's properly. If there was an A+, I'd put Xueyi there at E6. I would.
I have no comment about Xueyi. Sorry guys, I really don't know much about Xueyi.
But other than that, yeah, Gwen. Yeah.
Okay, the rest of the units at BSC,
I'll be honest. Gwen
really
damn, that's a tough one. I think that I
feel like as long as you're in the B tier onwards, people just generally don't care that much anymore. Unless they see their favorite unit in B tier, and then they're gonna get angry, right? But generally, I think at B tier onwards, most people just don't really care.
I actually think Gwen is also A tier, but when I compare her to Luka, she's not putting out the value he is. And now when I compare her to Sampo with Black Swan now out, she's not putting out the value he is. So I guess B is proper. I hate to say that because I love Gwen, but I guess it's proper. Now, Xueyi, they're absolutely out of their goddamn mind. Xueyi's one of the most underrated characters in the entirety of the game. She's not anywhere near B tier. Okay, this little bitch put some work in. If you have this just tells me that nobody at Prydwen actually puts in work with Xueyi. That's what that tells me.
Damn.
You actually put in work with her, build her up properly, Xueyi 100% is in the A tier. Not even a question. So yeah, they're sleeping on that. I will literally drop kick every single one of you for putting Welt in the beat. How you? Oh, you mother! Y'all think y'all can do this to Welt? Huh? Y'all think y'all can do this to Welt? Yo, ain't no way they put my brother up in here, bro. Nah, he A tier, bare minimum. Brother is A tier, bare minimum. I will not have any other input on that matter. Now that's crazy.
Oh, that he didn't even justify his like A tier minimum. That's it. I'm out. He just comes in, drops his shit, and leaves. Like, no. All right. I guess we can kind of talk a little bit about Welt. Shu Shang, I think I don't really care, right? Okay, I'm sorry, Shu Shang, right? But I don't really care. Okay, Welt. There's like 2 ways people are playing Welt right now. One way is the hyper carry way. You play Welt as a hyper carry. And the second way is you play him as like a sustain, like a pseudo sustain. Whereas you use his ultimate to like delay the enemy's action value, or like use them to break the enemy. Something like this. There's like the two main ways people play Welt. For the current second half of MOC 12, I feel like Welt has its uses because the action value delay, the cut, it can delay by quite a bit. genuinely. And both enemies, they are weak to imaginary, right? So there also isn't a lot of mobs per se. So Welt's bounces is not that bad. Or at least compared to like the previous MOC. The thing with Welt is, if I do not play him as a hyper carry, and I exclusively only play Welt as hyper carry, if I don't play Welt as hyper carry, we basically have skill point issues with Welt. Because he's kind of like, okay, yeah, sure, you can use his ultimate as like a pseudo sustain, right? But the thing is, if you don't give him skill points, his ultimate is gonna take really, really long to come back up again. So he kind of needs skill point in a certain sense. He can't be like all in like basic attack, because genuinely Welt's basic attack does completely nothing. It does completely nothing, right? So you kind of always want to give him like the skill point usage. And until we get Sparkle, and that's still like we still need to test it out until we get Sparkle to kind of like solve the skill point problem. I just think that Welt is just as a pseudo sustain, it's just like not that great. I would rather just use another support. You get what I'm saying? It's an opportunity cost. For example, if let's just say on the second half we want to use Doctor Ratio, right? We could run Doctor Ratio, a sustain. Okay, let's show you Ruan Mei, right? For my 4th slot, would I rather use Welt or would I rather use either Tingyun or Bronya? Or even Pela, or even Yukong. 9 out of 10, I would personally go with the supports. We have more skill points to use. Their buffs are really, really good. They can stack on very well with each other. And we are not super reliant on Welt's ultimate if they don't have enough skill points. So because of this logic, I don't rank Welt that high in this particular playstyle. Like a lot of things just do things better than Welt in this sense. But that being said, for a hyper carry Welt, like you use him as like a hyper carry, you use him as a, okay, you run Welt with Bronya, Tingyun, Ruan Mei, right? Let's just say you use a triple support, 1 Welt. He absolutely destroys the second half of MOC 12. I'm not sure you guys have tried it before. He absolutely destroys the second half of MOC 12. I think mine is not that relatable anymore because I have an E2 Welt. I have a pretty high idolence on Bronya, pretty high idolence on Ruan Mei. But if you guys want to try, I think he's still really, really strong in the second half of Memory of Chaos stuff as a hyper carry. Maybe not insanely strong like Doctor Ratio, but probably not so bad to the point where he's B tier for a hyper carry playstyle. Alright, so yep, that's my thoughts on Welt.
I will not have any other input on that matter. Now that's crazy. Y'all know damn well y'all ain't putting no work with Misha at E6 yet. How you gonna dump? How y'all gonna dump Misha straight into the...
He is literally still like level 1 tracers, so I have no comments. Fire MC, I feel that yeah, it's kind of fine, right? Like, I would just rather use somebody else than Fire MC. It's always about opportunity cost. For Misha, I don't give a f, right? Genuinely.
Tier. Bro ain't been out for 3 days. Come on now. Fire Trailblazer in the seats.
Wait, he didn't even say anything. Wait, he literally didn't say anything. He just said, yo, y'all come put Misha in C tier, and then just like, he's just laughing at Misha. He just
tier. Nah, I think the Fire Trailblazer is in the B tier. If you run Break Effect Fire Trailblazer on a fire scenario, they pop off. I'd put them in the B tier.
I feel like, okay, I don't want to rank so many units in one tier because I want to go by the bell curve distribution, you know, the bell curve distribution. Like, some units are just inherently better than others because of opportunity cost. You can't just raise everybody in B tier. And I think some units are better than others, right? So, because I just don't think that Fire MC is up there, right? So, yeah.
Other than that, those are my takes on that. Moving on to this category.
All right, this is the juiciest category. We have 6 minutes left, and how long has it been? I feel like this stream, this segment has been going on for like at least like I don't know, like 40 minutes. It's gonna be a long ass video. Okay, but anyways, all right, DPS category. Oh boy, you know what? We'll let him cook.
I think Jing Liu is still Queen Liu. I think that's fair. She's still Queen Liu. She's still absurdly broken. And can clear all content in the game. You can eat. She's so strong. You can even put her in scenarios where they're not even weak to ice. And she's still gonna just obliterate. So I think she still has that top spot. I'll be honest with you though. When Sparkle comes out, I got a strong feeling Imbibitor Lune is gonna be original Imbibitor Lune again. He's gonna maybe possible. I wouldn't put it past it genuinely. If a Jing Liu team comp is running, for example, Ruan Mei, Bronya, sustain, and then the Imbibitor Lune team comp is running a Ruan Mei, Sparkle, sustain. You know what? We'll find out when it happens, right? We'll find out when it happens. I think it's just I wouldn't put it past it. Everyone else. I have a feeling it might even be that with Xueyi. We'll see what happens there. Nah. Oh my. Okay. This is. Oh my. I swear to God. Okay. Even in normal circumstances, when you play Qingque, have you ever had a time where
Oh, let me try to get my cards, right? Let me get a 4 of a kind. You spend 1 skill point and then you got a 4 of a kind. Or sometimes you just spend no skill points and when it's her turn, she gets 4 of a kind. And that is gonna be the biggest slap in the face to Sparkle, because you give her all these skill points. You give Qingque like 7 skill points. And imagine she just use 1 and get 4 of a kind. It's Drover, man. Like, genuinely. It is not even close to how good Imbibitor Lunae is gonna be with Sparkle. It is not even close. Granted, it is decent, assuming that you actually get good RNG, but when it comes to consistency, right, volatility-wise, right, standard deviation-wise, Imbibitor Lunae like clears like no, yep.
Like, but I have a strong feeling Imbibitor Lunae is gonna be absolutely disgusting with Sparkle. The kit synergy that she has is just nuts, enabling him to always full charge his charged attacks while also potentially making him go on 3 times with 3 fully charged attacks. That's what's scary. She, with her advanced forward action, may enable Imbibitor Lunae to go 3 times with 3 fully charges, plus all the buffs she's given to him. And if that's the case, I think he's gonna swap places with Queen Liu. We'll see. I could be wrong.
Yeah, we'll see. Because Sparkle is definitely not gonna work with Jing Liu. Absolutely not. Sparkle is just, she used so little skill points, so we'll see.
Now, Dr. Ratio being in front of Imbibitor Lunae is kind of questionable to me.
Okay, wait, check. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's no in front or behind, right? Is there? Like, is there an in front or behind, or is it just like a tier by itself? I always thought that there's no tier. Okay, it's just okay, yeah.
Just because he outperforms in single target damage doesn't mean he's better than Imbibitor Lunae. I'll be honest, but putting them next to each other is fair, right?
Yep.
If they're next to each other, that's okay. It's debatable.
Yep.
It actually genuinely is debatable.
Genuinely.
Same thing with Seele and Xueyi. With the right.
Nope. Okay, you know what? Just all right, cook.
Gamba, Xueyi is outperforming Seele. And with the wrong Gamba, Seele is outperforming Xueyi. But there's no way on God's green earth somebody's sucking off and jerking off to Seele at Prydwen again. They're beating their meat to her 3 times a day because there's no way you're.
It's me, guys. The rank 1 Seele simp. It's me, guys.
Putting Seele in front of these characters right here. There's no way.
It's me.
Y'all smoking crack, putting Argenti in the A tier. I don't even have Argenti, and I know how good he is.
He's really not that great. This current Memory of Chaos though. like genuinely, he's really not that great in this Memory of Chaos. There's no mobs for him to kill. Or at least that's what I experienced.
Y'all are smoking crack, putting Blade, all 3 of these units. Like what do y'all have against the men, bro? Oh my god.
Men are trash. Don't cancel me, guys.
God, are you serious? Blade with Bronya. Maybe you can put him in specialist S tier because Blade with Bronya and a Ruan Mei literally does the same shit that these units do. If you don't, go watch Poke Zero Cycle. Go watch my Zero Cycle. He literally does.
Oh, guys, do you guys see my wrist? I have a new wrist emote for my subs. I'm just gonna self-promote this a little bit. Huge shout out to Nightingale, by the way. Insane emote. But anyways, yeah, continuing.
The same shit. So it's crazy that you got Blade in the A tier, bro. It's insane. Jingyun and Argenti is the same exact concept. Like, Jingyun received 87 buffs over the course of Honkai Star Rail's release, and y'all still have him in A tier. That makes 0 sense. Bro has been getting stronger in increments with each patch, but he's still in the A tier. Like, what? That makes no sense. And Argenti debatably does Queen Liu damage with his signature. Actually, I don't even know if it's debatably. I think.
See, the problem is, right? The problem is, King Liu can do the kind of damage every single turn. Argenti does the kind of damage once in the blue moon, right? He has performance anxiety, right? He needs to recharge, right? My man can't come like 20 times consecutively, right? So, yeah.
I think he does. I think he outperforms every single character in the game against the physical element with his signature light cone. I think it's not.
If there's no mobs for him to kill, genuinely not that great. Genuinely. It's just way too slow, in my opinion. Or at least just not as smooth from what I get.
Even a contest. So having him A tier, in my personal opinion, has got to be the most off the mark shit I've ever seen. But at the end of the day, it's just my take. Same thing. Himiko, this is.
Okay, before you move on to Himiko, let's just talk about it. Right? I want to address this one final time. Qingque as a unit, sure. You can Gamba for the perfect odds, right? You spend 3 skill points, get an auto key, crit everything, boom, you hit for like 500,000 damage against 3 targets, right? Sure. But the odds of you getting good RNG is infinitely harder than the odds of you not getting the good RNG. Our target itself having 24% fixed chance. You need to actually roll like high amount of like enhance the skills. You need a crit, and you need to actually get the 4 skill point enhanced base, 4 enhanced base attack, right? There's just so many RNG layers. It's just like, it is just not fun to play, right? Sure, you can say that Honkai style, you know, just roll better, right? Just roll better, right? What are you doing, right? You can't play mahjong, right? Just roll better, right? You can just keep re-rolling, right? You can just keep re-rolling, right? Especially since with this new update, you can just keep retrying a stage. Especially you don't need to restart again. You can argue this, but for me, I value not having my time getting wasted, right? I just value that more. It's kind of the equivalent. Okay, why do we even build crit rate? Why don't we just build like 50% crit with 300% crit damage on every single unit, and we just gamble on a 50-50? Because we are gambling with Qingque, right? So why not just take this application and apply it to every single unit? I mean, we could just keep resetting, right? And then we just have infinite damage with like all of our units. And Qingque basically takes this to the extreme. So that's why, in my opinion, I think Qingque will just never ever be. Oh my god, fuck this minimum wage worker, man. Go back to. Oh my god. Okay, but anyways, Seele. Okay, I'm not simping for Seele, right? I'm not simping for Seele. I genuinely am not simping. Okay, maybe a little bit, right? My Seele is easier as well, right? Okay, and this is just once again based on my personal experience. I feel like up to a certain point, when you reach this specific relic investment, she just outskills every other unit because of resurgence. No other unit can scale as much as having good relics. And see, that's the problem, right? That's the problem with the min picker community, right? Most people probably won't even get close to having good crit ratios. And I'm not talking about like 70% crit rate with 150% crit damage. I'm talking about this, right? Okay, genuinely, I'm not trying to flex, but I'm talking about this. If eventually you manage to get yourself to this point of relic investment, there's just no world where you will just not run her with like pretty much every single scenario you can see in Memory of Chaos. Because she can, with the right supports and with this baseline foundation being set, and this is easier as well, by the way, she will quite literally one-shot anything and everything in a way, except for boss targets. She can literally one-shot elites when you get to a certain specific investment. I'm not sure if you guys have seen my old video. Even till this point, Seele is the only unit I have with me right now that I managed to do a 3-man 0 cycle. 3 men. I've also seen the CN community doing a 2-man 0 cycle using Seele. And I have never ever seen this with any other DPS in the entire game at E0 S1. So I guess, you know, I just have a little bit more foresight when you actually get to this stage. Maybe now it's kind of like your dad, right? I'm not saying I'm your dad, but like, you know for a fact in the future this is gonna happen. I'm currently living this right now. Maybe my kids, right, my viewers, you guys still not there yet, right? Oh yeah, you guys have your 70% crit rate, 150% Seele. You guys can't one-shot anything. You can't even kill the goldfish, right? Oh my gosh, you can't trigger, you can't do shit, right? She shouldn't be S tier. I'm telling you, sons and daughters, when you eventually get that sweet relatable crit value, you will remember this day as a day where Mr. Pokey deems Seele as a timeless DPS. She genuinely aged like fine wine.
But that day, at the end of the day, it's just my take. Same thing. Himiko, this is absolutely disrespectful. Synergist with Topaz, Himiko Topaz, cracked. S tier. S tier Himiko. No.
Okay, this is why I'm kind of losing how they actually grade specialist tiers. Like, should we put Himiko in specialist? Like, what's going on? Okay, I'm getting a little bit confused. Yeah, okay, but Argenti, I've stated my points. Genuinely, I don't think he's anywhere that insane. Blade, I think it's still a fair assessment because I'm not saying that Blade is shit, but in terms of absolute damage output, he is lower. Like, and there's nothing to dispute about this because all you have to do is just go to Prydwen, shout out to Prydwen, look up their damage multipliers. You can see for a fact that Blade's multipliers, they're just inherently lower than every single unit up there. So as a damage dealer, which this is literally the term, damage dealer, he just inherently does less damage. Not to say he is shit, right? He has his quirks, right? He's self-sustaining, he's more tanky, he works really well with Bronya, all that kind of stuff. But as a damage dealer, it's just like not as high. So I can justify Blade being the A tier. Clara, up until this day, I don't think I've ever used Clara in Memory of Chaos. I'm still building Clara. So I'll have no comments on this. Tingyun, I feel that he's at a good spot. Yes, you get all these buffs, right? But there's one thing that no buffs will ever fix for Tingyun, and that is his once per turn Lightning Lord. Right. No amounts of buffs, follow-up attack sets, Fu Xuan, HuoHuo, Topaz, Ruan Mei, nothing will fix the Lightning Lord being once per turn. Right? Until maybe eventually MiHoYo releases another support that can increase our summoned unit's action value, or they actually grow a pair and give Tingyun this thing called, if Lightning Lord is at 10 stacks, he instantly lets it go. If they actually do that to Lightning Lord, he will definitely be insanely good. And with all the buffs that he's been getting so far, if he actually gets that mechanic, I think it's gonna be an S tier unit, genuinely. Yeah, okay, cool.
No doubt about it. Properly.
Yep,
yeah.
You can clear all content with him zero cycle, but if we're gonna be basing a tier list off of, okay, if a unit can clear content, they deserve to be S tier, then every single unit is going to be S tier. There has to be opportunity cost here. Nobody can, okay, in the Singapore education system, just because everybody got 100 out of 100 doesn't mean everybody is going to get A. There's a bell curve. You can't just say that, okay, I clear content and therefore like, I deserve to be S. Then we might as well just give every single unit S tier because they get all clear content. Yeah, I'm just keeping a bug, you know, yeah.
I'll give that. Disrespect. Oh my God, disrespect. You can go and watch my dude. Do I gotta go whip out my base form Dan Hung again to show them what's up? C tier. See, that means like bro struggling to get 5 cycle clears. I could quite literally get a 3 to 2 cycle clear with Dan Hung. No question.
I feel like this is a pretty interesting point to talk about. My personal experience with a unit shouldn't determine whether a unit is A, B, or C tier. Like, it shouldn't be that definitive reason why. For example, yeah, let's just say I invested all into C tier Dan Heng, right? Dan Heng, right? I give him everything. He has like 80% crit rate, 200% crit damage, right? He one-shots everything. And therefore, he should be in the S tier. I don't think it works this way. Tier lists in general, I feel they should be looked at as a guide to sort of tell players which unit should you rather invest in, assuming that you have those units. Would I invest Dan Heng, win Dan Heng, over Argenti, over Blade, over Clara, even over Himeko? Maybe I won't, because I might as well just use these, like the investments to the tracer, all that kind of stuff, and just invest in them, because it is just easier. Like, maybe your Dan is super cracked. Your Dan is like 80% crit rate, 200% crit damage, you one-shot everything. But let's just say my Blade, right? My Blade can do the same thing, but with like much lower barrier to investment, or even Argenti, or even Qingyun with a much lower barrier to investment. Then I do think that they are one step above Dan Heng. Not to say he's just completely unusable, and that's kind of the beauty of Honkai Star Rail. Every single unit is viable as long as you give them the investments needed. Yeah, basically.
So I think he should be B tier, bare minimum. Bare minimum. Hook, same thing. Disrespectful. B tier, bare minimum.
Hitch, Dark Hook, the Great. Okay, I've never used Hook for such a long time, so I have no comments.
Debatably A tier. But again, I think this just shows that people don't understand that these 4-star units, when they're invested in, they pop off. They really do. Arlon. Let's not talk about Arlon first.
Okay, I want to talk about Arlon. Genuinely. I think it's a little bit unfair, because like, if we want to base a unit's performance based on your personal experience clearing 0 cycle, I have seen Arlon 0 cycles. So if we're gonna do this, it is not impossible to 0 cycle with Arlon. It has been done multiple times actually. Same thing for physical Trailblazer, same thing for Yanqing. So I'm just saying.
Talk about Yanqing. Holy shit. Yo, who did my boy Yang Gang like this, bro? Dog, they put him in the D. Who put my brother in the back with Amber like that, dog?
I'm not sure if he's agreeing or disagreeing with this statement. I'm actually not sure.
That's the fuck. Yo, this is comical, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Whoever did this at Prydwen got jokes. They got actual jokes. That's funny. You put him behind.
Okay, chat, he disagrees, right? Neutrally speaking, he disagrees.
Behind the physical? No way, bro. They put him behind the physical, bro. That's insane. Damn. Somebody hates him, bro. That's funny. Nah, bro. Yang Gang gotta at least be Yang Gang is like bottom of A. So like if it was me, I'd put these three in S tier somewhere. Like specialist, I'd put Blade in specialist. I'd put Argenti and him in S tier 100%. And then I'd put Himiko in the S tier of specialists. And then I'd take Yanqing and put him in A tier. Like they just hating on my boy for no good.
For this specific MOC, I agree. For this specific MOC, I agree. Especially when we had the buff, right? One of my Yanqing Zero Cycle, almost 100,000 views, by the way. Thank you so much. I agree. He absolutely pops off this specific MOC. There's not a lot of mobs, there's not a lot of AoE, there's not a lot of DOTs. You can kind of just get him going without relying on shields. He's fine, especially on the first half of MOC 12. But the thing is, though, in the future MOC, I don't know about that, you know? I don't know about that, right? Because okay, think about it this way, right? Will you really invest in a unit just for one Memory of Chaos? I don't think that makes sense to me. Like, okay, you're really good now, but like, then just not gonna get used for like the next 10 years. Then I might as well just raise like Herta or some shit, or I just keep it Jing, right? So I want to have a little bit more foresight. Or at least that's how I want to do my tier list, right? Yes, we take the current buffs into consideration, but I also want to objectively have more foresight into the future, right? For example, I know that in Imbibitor we're going to get Sparkle in the future, so that's great. I know that Yanqing, he's probably not going to do so well with the other buffs or other enemies, so I wouldn't want to overrate him that much, right? So balancing these two out, I probably would kind of either A or B, right? Just to take this into considerations. D is a little bit much, but yeah.
Good reason right there, bro. And Arlon, man, I gotta do Arlon showcase because I know y'all not about to be sitting here disrespecting my brother like this, bro. D as in did my boy dirty. That's crazy. Now, Prydwen, keep up the good work, man. Even if I don't agree with all y'all's takes, this shit is awesome. It's great to even come here as a reference point. You guys do
100%. Before we end off the video, right, I genuinely hope that the community will look at tier list not as like a Bible, not as like a this is it, right? I feel that tier list should be looked at as a point of discussion, as a point of, okay, he brought up these points with his opinions based on whatever units, right? And then me as a player with a working brain, right, I don't have a room temperature IQ, I can form my own opinions based on some of the takes that the tier list have. Some of them might be correct, some of them might be wrong, but if I don't agree with a tier list, it doesn't necessarily mean that the tier list is shit, because another player is gonna have another opinion based on whatever they have, right? So I think tier list itself, as long as people don't get overly toxic, or like, oh my god, this is just dog shit, who the f made this tier list, right? As long as it's like a healthy point of discussion, it's content at the end of the day, guys. I feel like if tier lists are being looked at in this particular manner, I think it's great. I think it's a fantastic way to drive community engagement, because let's be real, do you really want to talk about like what Gold and Gears for the 10 billionth time? Do you really want to talk about Penacony's story? Please play the story if you haven't played, right? Like it gets dull to a certain extent, right? Tier list is like one of the only few things that people can actually talk about, and I think it's great, right? So with that, we've come to the end of today's content. If you guys want to engage in any further discussions, head on to my Discord at Poke's Village. We're a very active community talking about Honkai story on a daily basis. If you want to check out my stream, that's going to be at twitch.tv/MrPoke. I'll be streaming almost every single day. I'm also streaming on YouTube. Sure, will be updated on Discord as well, right? So that's all I have for today. All the best for your Black Swan pools, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. I genuinely cannot believe this shit. I genuinely cannot believe this shit. I genuinely cannot believe this shit, guys. Did I say how I genuinely cannot believe this shit? I genuinely cannot believe this shit, guys.